Morning, everybody. Thanks for logging in and joining us on this last webinar for the school year. Our agenda is up. Will be pretty light, so we might be able to give you some time back for our first, and this is being recorded. Yes, perfect. All right, so our first item on the agenda is the meal of the month. And we have a lovely bowl of chili and vegetables, green beans, peaches, roll, choice of milk, and this is from Nampa School District. So thank you, Michelle Eggers, for providing delicious meals and for sending in your photos. This has been a fun thing for us to look at, and also, get some ideas of how you're doing your lunches out there. So again, we appreciate that, and hopefully we'll continue this in the fall. Next on the agenda is NSLP renewal. Jax, you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. So just as a reminder, again, we've talked about this for past little bit, but NSLP renewal for school year 23-24 is open now. Specifically for those of you who have not started or enrolled in school year 23-24 in my Idaho CNP for renewal for your application packet, please do so now. You're going to want to do that as soon as possible, at least get started there, especially since you can start working to that first submission to us, because a lot of times there's little things that we might catch here and there. So definitely start working on that when you can. And if you have any questions, contact your specific coordinator that you're working with on your renewal packet. But if you still have any general NSLP questions, then you can contact us as well. Next slide.
Our next slide is on annual training with Cambria. Cambria, are you ready?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. You want to jump to the next slide, Pamela?
Yes.
So this is just a reminder that a full day of NSLP annual mandatory training will be held in person at these locations on these dates that you can see on the slide. Please note that there will not be an annual training held in conjunction with the ISNA conference this summer. Training is mandatory for the food service director, and up to 2 people for each district are allowed. However, based on district size, the state agency has contacted specific districts and granted an exception for an additional staff member to attend. And this is just a friendly reminder. Please do not bring additional people. They will not be able to attend. This is due to size restrictions for the rooms that we have, as well as limited resources. Okay. And then here is our dates and locations for our RCCI in-person annual training. So we will be having in-person for RCCIs this year. So if you are an RCCI, please make sure you register for one of these. Okay, next slide. And this is just another reminder that we have our civil rights training, and it is up in the CNP learning portal now. This training must be completed annually, and the deadline to complete this training is September 8th. And this is for NSLP, or people who operate the NSLP program. So if you have another date for another program, please follow that. This is just for NSLP. And please remember to update your professional standards log once you complete this training.
Thanks, Cambria. I'll take it over, and I'm the new coordinator for the Fresh Fruits and Vegetable Program grant. We've received the next steps. Basically, if you've applied, we've received your applications. They're being reviewed, and we expect to hear from the USDA how much money we're going to get, but that won't be until July. So as soon as we hear, We can allocate the funding. We'll send the award letters and the addendums to you. You'll return the addendums and then complete the mandatory training. We hope to be able to get all through this, by the end of July, beginning of August, so you know where you're starting when you go back to school. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My email's at the end, but it's pmurray@sde.idaho.gov. And then our next slide, summer activities. Just wanted to let you know that the And Justice for All posters, there's no estimated time on when we're going to get new posters. So please keep the ones you have. Some posters get taken down and thrown out during the summer, and we're running kind of low. So if you can, before you guys take off for the summer, go ahead and reclaim your And Justice for All posters, put them in a safe place so you can put them back up in the fall. And then the other thing I had for you is the Farm to Summer Week is June 26th through 30th, 2023. Those of you who are participating in the summer food program, if you have activities planned, please let us know. We can help you share and promote them on social media. And don't forget to take pictures and share those too. Mary Ann is the coordinator for that, and you'll find her email here, and reach out to her with pictures if you need help promoting your activities, anything. Of course, she's out of the office today, but you can get in touch with her for your Farm to Summer Week plans. Next slide is administrative reviews, and we're back to Jax, please.
Okay, so if we go to the next slide, this is a tentative list of who we are going to be having NSLP administrative reviews for this upcoming year. Nothing is 100% fixed in Idaho CNP, but we're pretty sure that this will be the list that we're working with. So what I would do is just take a quick picture of this if you're able to. That way you're able to go through and scout to make sure whether or not you're on there. This is in alphabetical order, so that should make it a little bit easier. Also, this will be available via recording. This is just kind of a heads up. There's nothing for you to do at this point, but we will be in contact with those of you who are going to receive a review in the coming year, and you'll receive a formal letter and with instructions, and we'll be in touch with you with whoever is the lead reviewer. So just a little heads up for y'all.
Thanks, Jax. Next in our webinar, we have updates from TJ on the USDA Foods Program.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Before we move on to the actual items on the agenda, I just did want to remind everybody, as was mentioned by Cambria, there is no mandatory training at ISNA. However, the USDA Foods team is offering an 8-hour pre-con. It's called USDA Foods Boot Camp. The idea behind that was to make sure that all of we've got lots of folks that are new or maybe inherited a program that they've only run partially through in a given year. So we highly encourage anyone that would like to really understand the value of the USDA Foods Program to join us for that pre-con session on the 20th at ISNA. It is 8 hours. 8 hours of really, really important information so you can successfully use the opportunity that USDA Foods offers. Next slide. So quickly, just wanted to remind everyone where we're at in terms of the part of the year where USDA Foods inventory is really, really critical. So as a reminder, storage control and use of donated foods is actually identified as a regulatory requirement for the state distributing agency. And one of the reasons that we are so firm about having a 60-day dwell time policy and a sweeps policy is because the foods that were ordered in March of 2022 were intended to be used during this school year. So if you have any additional inventory sitting at the warehouse, please make sure that you request delivery of those items There are many reasons for it, but regulatory compliance, the liability of those foods is in limbo if you leave your foods at the warehouse. So it essentially means that nobody really knows if something happens at the warehouse over the summer, how does the responsibility for providing replacement foods happen? So we need for everyone that has food sitting at the warehouse to make sure that those foods are placed on your final order for the year and taken into your own warehouse. Now, if you have some issues, please make sure that you contact myself as well as Edith at Gold Star Foods. We're working with people to see if we can move inventory that can't be used. But at the end of the day, do keep in mind that entitlement that belonged to your district was spent on those foods. So they really should be used in your foods program. And again, a reminder for anyone that may not be familiar with what the sweets policy is. That is a policy that is enacted at the end of this school year for any raw bulk material pounds that are still sitting in a school district's bank. So you see those in the inventory release software system listed under the dashboard for commercial providers. If you have any pounds that are unused, those pounds will be swept from your district and they will be placed into the state agency account. Because again, they should be used during this school year. So if you can place orders for any raw bulk materials that you have so that you can ensure you get the value of those, I would encourage you to work with Edith at Gold Star if you have any questions about that to get items on order, or feel free to send an email to the USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov and we can give you more information about that. Next slide, please. So also in conjunction with USDA Foods is a reminder that summer foods operators may use USDA foods that are available on the exchange for your summer meals program. So please, I encourage you to take a look at the bonus tab, the surplus tab, and the CCC tab, and see if there are any items that you could use for serving meals in your summer foods program. Keep in mind that the summer foods program is only funded from USDA Foods with a very small percentage of identified funding, but the NSLP funds can transition over into summer feeding. So if you claim items off the exchange, please claim them responsibly, because some of those items, don't just take them and put them in your warehouse for use for the next school year. If you can use them in your summer meals program, we highly encourage you to go ahead and take those. If you have any questions on that, again, feel free to send an email to the USDA Foods team, and we're happy to work with you and explain that a little bit further. And next slide, please. And then finally, just a reminder on the USDA DoD Fresh Fruits and Vegetable Program, often referred to as the DoD Fresh. The NSLP budget, it still has a collective amount of $91,000 that have not been spent. That was money that was allocated by school districts, if you actually allocated, for use this school year. And those funds are use them or lose them. So if you still have money sitting in your NSLP budget, those funds must be spent by June 30th, 2023. They do not carry over. So please make sure that you're aware of what your budget is. Jump into favors if you're a school that allocated, know what you have and have a plan for using it. If you determine that you absolutely will not be able to use funds, and we're talking, you know, a significant amount. If it's like under $10, don't worry about notifying us, because it takes more resources to reallocate those than they're worth. And we have to make sure that we're meeting a $150 minimum delivery. But if you know that you have, you know, several $1,000s and you're not going to be able to use those, please notify me today, USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov. Because there are schools out there that can use those funds, and we'd like to make sure that they get spent down, since it is a use it or lose it program. And then finally, a reminder that the SFSP budget, there are only a few schools that were eligible for that budget. It wasn't very large. It is pennies on the dollar, but that budget, anyone that has received a budget in favors for use in their summer feeding program, those budgets are set up. You can begin using them at any time. However, if you have an NSLP budget, draw that down first and then jump into your SFSP budget. And that budget can be spent on produce until September 30th, 2023. So again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to send an email to the USDA Foods team at sde.idaho.gov. So thank you. I think that is all the USDA Foods team has. And I do see some questions. We'll address those after the end of the webinar. So thank you.
Thanks, TJ.
You bet.
So up next, I got to talk a little bit about the Patrick Leahy Farm to School program. And of course, what's in season right now, we're getting there. We have a few more things. We have asparagus, flowers and plants, fresh herbs, greens, onions, potatoes, and radishes, and rhubarb. This handy dandy chart is provided by the Department of Agriculture, and you can find it on their website too. And I also wanted to talk about Idaho Preferred. It's through the Department of Agriculture. If you're looking for local, you can check out their website, and over here you enter your zip code. I entered 83501, and it will populate the members to reach out to. Harvest Ridge Organics, Copper Canyon Ranch, Melliflora, Reverie Farms, and 10 Bluebird Acres populated the map. So this is a great tool if your delivery fails and if you need a plan B, or if you just want to reach out and incorporate some more diverse local foods in your menus. Again, this is the website is up here, idahopreferred.com. It's under the members section, and then you'll get to the categories and producers. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, of course, or just go to the Idaho Preferred website and click around over there. So now is the time for questions. I see TJ was in the chat reaching out to folks who are in a position to reallocate funds and relinquishing their allocations and everything. But if anybody else has a question, you can go ahead and put it in the chat or unmute yourself. I'll give you a few minutes.
Pamela, I did just want to let the advisory council know I canceled our advisory council meeting this morning. So if you did not see that cancellation, we will not be holding one today if you're on this call, on this webinar.
Thanks, TJ. Real quick, I wanted to put up our phone numbers and who we are. There's a question. What is the deadline to complete and submit our renewal packet for next year?
So I can go ahead and answer that. So the final deadline that we want to have you approved is by June 30th. So a little over a month away from now. I would say that you should work on getting a first submission in as soon as you possibly can. That way you kind of have a little bit of wiggle room to work with because a lot of times we do send stuff back with questions or corrections that we might have for you guys in your guys' packet. So definitely get on it as soon as possible, but we want it all approved and done by the end of June.
Thanks, Jax. And here's our non-discrimination statement. It's again been really great to have you all with us, and thank you. Hope you can use your time reclaimed going about your day. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back on a webinar in August. Thanks much. Take care.